Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, you guys, let me get some cards. That's what. Let me get some cards. I asked what this reading was going to be about, this conversation. And what I heard is alignment and massive abundance. So a lot of things are taking place. There's a lot of stuff. I feel like I'm not sitting proper or something. Or something. Okay. There's a lot of things coming into play here. A lot. And the things that are coming into play are very, very important for your awareness and for the progression of your journey, right? What needs to happen now is something that if you do it, it will create so much alignment that those pathways will open and all of this abundance will flow through, and it will start as a trickle, and then it will be like boom, and it won't stop. It won't stop. And it's going to be something so profound, something you've waited for so long, that when it happens, you're going to be like, no, this is just a fluke. No, this is going to end. It's just, it's like a little burst of goodness, but nothing good is going to be allowed to last. Uh-uh. No, it's not just this little thing that's happening. This is the start. We're approaching the 6-6 portal. Okay. It's June 5th. Tomorrow is 6-6. It is the 6-6 portal. Now, what a lot of people don't realize, that portal begins to dilate a week before the apex date, and it continues to remain open a week after. One day before the apex date and one day after, it is still open. But on the apex date, that's when it's the most open. And that's when the potentialities are the most pronounced, the most intense. So that portal is already open. We're already approaching the apex. That means whatever is being planned for you right now by soul, if you allow it, you know, some good stuff. Some good stuff. Would 612 also be a portal date? Most people wouldn't count that as a portal. It would be more of the repeating numbers, like 2 and then 222, like that. Or like 1 and then 111. That's what most people would consider a portal date. Let's breathe. Let's breathe. It's a lot of goodness coming through. Just a lot of goodness, a lot of necessary change, a lot of necessary shifting, necessary conversations. I just keep hearing the word necessary. Everything that is being allowed right now is necessary. Everything that you're experiencing, even the hardship, is necessary. Necessary. Just necessary, right? Okay. And I feel like this message is going to be so profound. I brought out my deck. For those that don't know, I had professionally printed an oracle deck complete with activations. I know, right? And you guys are probably like, what do you mean activations? Hi, little bear. Um, you guys are probably like, what do you mean activations? Well, here's the thing. The images from this deck were created by one of my most favorite artists. I've known her for so long. And not only did she give me the original paintings, she sent me the actual paintings. Um, I went ahead and I dusted all of it with a powder of the selenite dust that was a byproduct of all of the swords I made from 2017 all the way through. I'm a klepto slash hoarder. Yeah, no, I have bags of selenite dust. I know my husband, my poor husband, he's had to lug all his stuff around. Yeah, so bags and bags and bags of selenite dust. I used to call it Emmy dust. And I dusted all of the paintings with this selenite dust before scanning it with a high resolution scanner, like an actual industry scanner. And so all of that is programmed into the cards, whatever the intentions. And I sat with each painting. As a matter of fact, I only did a portion of the paintings that this artist sent me. Yeah, I commissioned her to do quite a few paintings, and I only did a portion of it. So people have been asking me if I can reprint and release the deck, and it's been really pressing on my heart to go ahead and not just reprint it, but expand on the book and include way more paintings. I'm just like, okay, I need to find time. That's the only thing that's prevented me. I need to find time because it has to be done in a specific way. Let's get started, guys. So, alignment and a massive amount of abundance coming through. All right. Okay. Okay. hmm So, soul is letting you know some of the different potentialities that um, might be might be the ways in which you're kind of, blocking, right? A little bit. You kind of blocking. Now, for many of us, we want the abundance. We want everything to happen for us. We want the beauty and the peace and the stillness and all of this amazing, amazing concept. But it's like we struggle to actually allow ourselves to receive it. So, what's going to happen as part of the correction this summer might feel like it's going upside down for some of you. Those of you who have the greatest amount of abundance to allow in, most likely are the ones who are going to have um, the hardest time allowing it in. I know my community. I know you guys. I know you guys. You guys are reflections of me, and I do that. I do that. I don't know why I do that, um, but I do that. It's less and less these days, but it's been a process. And I think for most of you, if not all of you, you've been in a similar, if not the same exact process. Now, the deck fell over as I was starting the live stream. And I will show you what's at the bottom of the deck because I'm being told that I was supposed to show you this at the beginning before these cards were pulled. That's why I understand what these cards mean. The deck fell and it fell upright. And this is the balance card. Balance. So these are the things that are going to be allowed in order to rebalance you, right? To rebalance you, um, you're going to need to be made, and this is for quite a few of you, okay? You're going to need to be made so uncomfortable in this space of discomfort that you became comfortable being in. Ooh, that is a mental twister. So basically, you began to condition yourself to be okay with the discomfort that you've been existing in for quite some time. a space of limited existence, a space of limited understanding, limited awareness, limited this, limited that, limited everything. And you convinced yourself that really, maybe you were just being a little bit extra and you don't really need that much, or, this is okay. This is enough. It's enough. I don't need that much. I don't I don't need to be, greedy. There's other people who are suffering, and those things that we tell ourselves, right? I'm totally guilty of this as well. And so you got comfortable there. You got comfortable with being uncomfortable, and so now soul is like, this needs to be corrected. So we're going to make you so uncomfortable in this discomfort that you're going to have no choice but to get out of it. You're going to be like, hell no, I've had enough. And this is the process you guys have seen me in for the past year and a half. Oof. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. um Awareness just hit. Yeah. Uh, uh that's exactly where I've been. And you guys have unfortunately seen it unfolding and the deconstruction taking place right before your eyes. Look at the progression through the live streams over the last like 18 months. Look at the progression. Look at the way I fought it. Look at the way I clung with bloody fingernails to such a limited space of existence. And it's not that our community is limited. It's not that you guys don't provide me all the support and love, encouragement, empowerment, shielding that I needed over the last 18 months. Actually, longer than that, much longer than that. Wow. Ooh. It is June 5th at 5:33. Today marks 5 years. 5 years to the day that my legs were knocked out from under me. And I leaned on this community. Today marks 5 years to the day. Because last night was 5 years since my mother died. Five is the number of change. 65533. Inverted mirrors. 65533. In order to receive and be the vessel of divinity, elevated change needed to take place, which is represented by 55. And that elevated change takes me to a space of truly mastering the most difficult parts of my life. And if you take the number 33, which is my life path, it becomes 6. 6 being indicative of me now able unwilling to receive everything I work so hard to create. It has been a very uncomfortable journey. Very, very uncomfortable journey. Because for the first 3 years out of that 5, I was in a space of not being able to mourn. No, that's a lie. I was in a space of not being willing to mourn. And when I finally allowed myself to mourn, then began all the legalities. Sometimes we allow our loyalty to be the very reason, the justification that we use to remain in the spaces that we no longer belong. Moving forward from the spaces that you no longer belong does not mean you're no longer loyal and that there is no more love. It does not mean that at all. Because when the love is real, when the support is real, when the connections you create are real, when there is alignment, it can withstand anything. Even periods of silence, periods of distance. You have to begin seeing all the ways in which the very logic that you hold on to is the thing that's been preventing you from moving forward. We give ourselves a lot of excuses as to why we can't do this, why we can't do that. I think this marks a period where our ability to blindly accept the intellectualized excuses that we make, that time is done. It is done. There are certain decisions that needed to be made, not just for me, but for you as well. Certain decisions that needed to be made, and they were made in the silence of your internal spaces, decisions you couldn't share, didn't want to share, was not aware enough to share, whatever it is. These are things that are part of an internal process that's now being expanded to the degree that it's becoming externalized. It's going to be witnessed by the world. You're going to be witnessed by the world. That's huge. That's huge. You need to begin allowing yourself to receive the permission from you to openly celebrate every single little milestone. You don't give yourself enough credit. You don't acknowledge to the degree and the depth that needs to be acknowledged the amount of effort you put into something. I know. Michael is like, tell them. And I'm like, what? Tell them what? And he's like, tell them what you did this week. Tell them what you did this week. So for the past week, I have been just in a frenzied state, just absolutely frenzied Why? Well, because my proctored exam to become a certified personal trainer, certified by the National Academy of Sports Medicine, um, was yesterday. It was yesterday. And you guys saw my little notebook with all the little printed pictures, and I bought a little pocket printer that prints stickers so that I could, you know, go ham with my study notes. And there were certain concepts that I just couldn't understand. And this relates to the way you do your journey, okay? So, my strategy, because I'm tactical in everything I do, I need to find the most efficient, most um, accurate way to do everything in life, literally everything in life. So I'm like, okay, what is the most tactical approach for this mission objective? And it was this thing of I'm going to take the practice exams, as many as I can, because that's what my son said he was going to do. He did the same program. And then whatever I get wrong, that's what I'm going to go and memorize. And so I took the test quite a few times, and I wasn't looking for what I got right. I didn't care about what I got right because I know that already. Instead, I shifted my entire focus on what I got wrong, taking it over and over and over, over and over and over and over, looking for what I got wrong, printing everything out, highlighting what I got wrong, and then going over it again and again and again until I knew exactly what the answer was for everything I got wrong. And then a couple hours before my test yesterday, I decided to go over all the wrong questions, not just the ones I couldn't memorize. And there were things that I realized, oh, I don't remember it. And I got frustrated. I got frustrated. I got upset. And then I remembered the wise words of one of my besties. And it was this thing of, you're going to do perfectly fine. And I was like, but I want 100%. And she said, do you get anything extra, any extra benefits for having 100%? No. She's like, then what does it matter, basically? Well, because that's just, I will die. I will die. Anything less than 95%. Because the non-proctored exam, I got a 93. So her words stuck with me. When I got frustrated, I said, you know what? It don't matter. As long as I get over a 70, that passes. And besides, I purchased the package that has an additional proctored exam in case I fail. I mean, that's just me maximizing what I purchased. If I have to take a second test, right? So now this is me really just giving myself permission to relax. Just really relax so that I could be fully present and fully aware as I take the test. It was a virtual proctored exam. I didn't know what that experience was going to be like. They wanted me to remove everything from my office. Like, bitch, are you joking right now? These are living beings. These are their homes. You don't just evict living beings from their homes. And they had me clear off my desk. I have tons of cards on my desk. Like, it was just, I did everything that I was asked. And then there was more. I was getting so frustrated. I was getting so pissed off. Like, just let me take the fucking exam. You can see where I'm looking. You looked from the floor to the ceiling like I'm not hiding anything. Because let me tell you, accusing me of being a liar or a cheater is like, That's one of the ugliest things you can do, and the fastest way you can offend me. Mhm, and I was like, "You know what? Let me not mess up this opportunity for myself." So I went and got my mother's, um, hospital tray, and I took the test on that. Yeah, because I was like, so they can just stop tripping, right? Um, I'm just gonna take the test on her hospital tray so that they see there's nothing there. Also, the part before the exam, when I was starting to really mess myself up, um, I was frustrated because in order to be able to run the proctored exam on my laptop, I didn't have enough space for the operating system update. They required an operating system update. And I needed to dump something like 30 gig. And I was like, I have to delete everything for work. Oh my God. I backed that up, deleted everything, and still not enough space. And I'm like, where am I going to get the space? And then I was like, oh, iMovie. Maybe there's stuff in there that's saved that I could delete. And there was. The first thing that popped up were pictures of my aunt, who is basically like my second mother, who I got my neurotic studying behaviors from. And I was like, "Oh, auntie, I'm so sorry. I love you, but I gotta delete you." And I selected everything and I was gonna delete it, but something nudged my hand, which caused the entire iMovie library to scroll to the very bottom, which happened to be nothing but pictures of my mother. And I was like, "I'm not deleting you." So I deleted all of the pictures of my aunt. And wouldn't you know, there was just enough space. So yesterday was my mom's passing anniversary. Oh man, because of all the hullabaloo, I ended up having to take the test on her medical tray. And all of these different factors coming into play. And I took that test and I was frustrated and I was like, you know what? I'm at a point. I don't even care if I pass. I have a second attempt if need be. If I get 70%, perfectly fine. I don't care. I was so frustrated. And I took the test and I finished it in 1 hour instead of 2. And I felt like I didn't know shit. But my son gave me the best advice. If you don't know the answer, use common sense. I passed. I passed the test. So I'm certified. I'm nationally certified. And because I'm neurotic, I went digging through my student portal to find what my grade was because they don't tell you your grade. They just say that you passed. And I found where the grades were. And I scored a 97. Which I just realized right now, 97 is the year I graduated. So I'm graduating the cycle of limited existence. And I'm realizing, because none of these factors really made sense to me until right now. I didn't even think about how yesterday was my mother's anniversary. I was just so focused on the test and not failing. So I look at this and I see I'm graduating a cycle that's kept me confined to lower spaces of intelligence and existence. I'm realizing that in focusing on everything I got wrong, instead of being harsh with myself and condemning myself for not knowing the right answer, I instead focused on understanding why I got it wrong and adding to my knowledge base. I'm looking at the way the scores were and how I felt as I was taking the test. I'm realizing I'm not the best judge of my capacity at times, that I still see myself in a distorted way because it's so easy to forget. One of the greatest gifts my mother gave me is her lineage. And it's more than just coming from naturally gifted healers. She comes from a line of healers, like actual healers, not that bullshit line that people say, no, my grandmother possessed the same medical skills that I have. My mother as well. Even my mother's grandfather, my grandmother's father, same thing. So I literally come from a line of actual healers. But it goes beyond that. Not only was my mom capable and extremely gifted, something she never shared with me, and I only knew this after she died. My mother was a savant. She gifted me with a capacity to just naturally know the answer with minimal amount of information. 65553. You have everything you need already inside you. Everything. You just need to allow it to align so that it can work in your favor. I couldn't control the outcome, and I was never meant to. Everything that happened for hours before that test began was everything that was designed to break me down, not so that I would fail, but so that I would be so frustrated and exhausted that I wouldn't have the energy to interfere with a process that was designed to help me close chapters and open new books to write. And alignment is occurring. And you're going to have to go through quite a bit because of the ways in which you hold on to the very things that life is trying to remove from your path. If you just allow it. You see, I presented the events of yesterday as though I gave up. And in some ways I did. In some ways I did. But the actuality, when I look at it in hindsight, I didn't give up. Because giving up would have meant I wouldn't have taken the test. What I gave up on was my need to control, something that I had no idea was already predestined to be a success. Not only was I the arrow, I was the bow holding the arrow and the hand pulling the bow back. And all that happened was I let go. And when I let go, I launched forward. We need to step out of our own way. You're right, Empress Kimberly. It's about stepping out of your own way. I don't know where my life is going to take me, but I know it's taking me somewhere. It's taking me there fast. And I don't know what it's going to mean. June 5th at 5:56. Still inverted mirrors. 65556. 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15, which reduces down to 6. 6, 6, 6. You think that's an evil number? A number is a number is a number. 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. 9 represents divinity. It represents God. It represents what is giving to you what you are being prepared to receive. The process that you're going to enter into, you need to respect it. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to understand in advance, in order for you to comply. You simply have to comply, knowing that your soul is what's in control and that your soul wants you to succeed. This is not something you're going to call to you. This is not something you're going to initiate. Invocation in reverse. You're not invoking something to work on your behalf. It is simply happening for you. You are not creating the circumstance. You are not creating the hardship. The struggle is calibrated to erode the parts of you that refuse to allow alignment. Your refusal to see, to look into your shadows. Because what, you think that's your evil part? No. Shadow is not intrinsically evil. Shadow is simply a different positioning on the same plane of existence as light. What's the difference between night and day? Very extreme positioning. Opposing polarities positioned in opposing polarities. But really, the transition from night and day and night happens gradually throughout your day. There's no clear definition of when is night. It's just suddenly you realize it's getting dark. And as it gets darker and darker and darker, you need to turn on some lights. Your refusal to look into your shadow, your refusal to dedicate yourself to the process that you're already in. You're already in this process. You're not going to get out of it. You're not. You're not going to get out of it. No matter how you feel about this process, you're just not getting out of it. Because it's a process that's welcoming. the next part of your life. It's a process that's ripening you. Fulfillment in reverse. A huge part of you still believes that none of this applies to you, that there's no way any of this could apply to you. There's no way this, there's no way that. Okay. Yesterday, so um the screen just said passed in green after my test, and I was just like, I passed. And then it instructed me to close out the window. Another window popped open and I closed it out. And I was like, wait, oh my God. I don't know if I read that right. Because I didn't know if I read that right. And so, like, I thought I passed. And then I looked at my grade and it was 97. And I was like, ooh. And then give it another 2 hours or so. I'm like, you know, I don't really know if I passed. I don't really know what the 97 is. Is that just like from my accumulated quiz scores for the online portal? I don't think that's my test score. Or maybe they just put a random number. And then another hour or so passes and I'm like, I don't think I passed. I don't think I passed. I think I'm full of shit. I don't think I passed. Oh my God, what if I didn't pass? And of course, I'm going through my emails late at night to see which extractions need to be initiated and my end of day stuff. And I happen to see the organization emailed me to confirm and to let me know when my certificate will arrive. And I was like, oh my God, why do I do this to myself? Why do I do this to myself? Why is it so hard for me to believe that I accomplished what I set out to? And let me tell you, I was going to be okay if I simply got a 70, as long as I didn't fail. And then, of course, and yeah, I was like, hey, Miss 93%. I was like, oh my God, I have to get at least a 95. She's expecting me to get a 93. Mhm. Mhm. Yes. Because guess what? There will always be a part of me that wants to please and make proud the people who are most important to me, right? That's not always a bad thing. It is not always a bad thing. As long as the people, oh, Miss 93% and above. That's what she messaged me. And I was like, no, I'm gonna die. Yeah, literally. I went like this at the gym. No. But I didn't tell her. um, I think that if you have healthy people in your environment and you want to make them proud, right? Um, I don't think it's a bad thing that they see you in the way that they see you, that they think so highly of you. I don't think it's a bad thing. Like my besties knew that I would do the best that I could, right? They knew. They weren't they were like, there's no way you're just getting a 70. There's just, you know what I mean? I think when we allow ourselves to align everything in the way it's meant to align, um, you become aware of just how powerful you are within your environment and how powerful your environment is when you allow it to be. So when you allow your environment to convince you that you should remain in stagnant spaces, you should remain in limited existence. You're giving your environment that kind of power. If you have toxic people around you who, I don't know, don't give you permission to succeed beyond what they give you permission to succeed to, um, I mean, that's all I gotta say about that. It's a caca. It's caca. Okay? So don't listen to caca people. Caca people have cockamaniac ideas. Caca people who have cockamaniac ideas lose their cockamaniac minds. Okay? Don't listen to that. Don't try and appease that. Instead, allow yourself to get to a point where you can identify when your environment is aligned with what you are trying to achieve. Now, anyone who I felt was not going to be supportive of what I was trying to do, I would not tell them. And I'm not talking about this test. I'm talking about everything, right? If I don't know if you will somehow make me feel as though, and maybe it's not intentional. If I don't know if you will somehow um trigger some of my old wounds to rise to the surface, and again, might not always be intentional, then I'm not going to involve you. Because there are still people in my life that I don't really keep in touch with that have the capacity to trigger those things. And I don't keep in touch with them. Why? Because it's already enough of a struggle for me to see myself with clarity. I don't need people who have successfully dragged me into, I don't know, a distorted view of myself in the past. I don't need them to do that again now. I was having a conversation with someone important to me earlier, and it was this thing of, um, don't function in the way you think you're supposed to. Instead, function in the way you know you do and accommodate that. Accommodate that function. So if you know that you struggle with something, and I had given the example of, I know that I can't meditate by myself for anything. I can't. I have ADHD. Give me a break. I can't. I can't do it. I can't. I can't. I get irritated, I get frustrated, and the next thing you know, intrusive thoughts begin. Yeah, it's just not worth it. But but I can absolutely lead a meditation like no other. Oh my god. I can absolutely do that and remain absolutely focused. So, what's that tell me? To create alignment within myself. If I want to meditate, if I want to enter into a meditative state, what am I going to do? Force myself? No. I'm going to go ahead and hop on a live stream and, hey, you guys want to do a meditation with me? I'm going to do a guided meditation. And that's going to give me the ability to meditate with no intrusive thoughts. None. Right? So allow yourself to function in the way you function and respect the needs and the boundaries of that function. This alignment that's taking place is requiring you to enter into a state of Blu-ray awakening. This is an expansion of consciousness beyond what you thought you could reach, right? This is an expansion of awareness that is beyond what you thought you could reach. And all you really have to do is stop tearing yourself down, because the next card is the build-up sigil, but it's in reverse. So this is your soul. Do I need to flick you in the foot? Sorry. Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. I did, but I didn't. The thought crossed my mind and I couldn't help myself. Are your foreheads okay? Um, I'm so sorry. I I meant to, but I didn't. It was a thought and I didn't control the thought. It's the build-up sigil, but it's in reverse. So this is telling me that you keep tearing yourself down. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Stop. Stop tearing yourself down. I meant to, but I didn't, but I did. I did, but I didn't, but I did. Sorry. If you can stop tearing yourself down, right? You're not even being tasked to lift yourself up. You're just being asked to stop yanking yourself down. What will happen is you'll begin to be renewed. You will begin to be renewed, and then change will occur. And this change will be initiated by you laying down your weaponry and no longer fighting yourself in your process. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Look, see how the butterfly? Usually I see this and I'm like, ooh, the delicate butterfly is pulling out a sword. Pulling out a sword. Right now, what I'm seeing is this delicate butterfly, a representation of your metamorphosis into the next part of your life. It's putting the sword away. It's just a shift in perspective because the picture didn't change. The butterfly is putting the sword away. You are the butterfly. You are the butterfly. A butterfly can never go back to being a caterpillar. Once you go through your metamorphosis, you can never be the same again. And if you can never be the same again, how do you think you're going to be able to continue to communicate and be understood by the caterpillar people in your life? These are people who have never sprouted wings and flown anywhere else. They're accustomed to simply staying on the same leaf, consuming, consuming, consuming. And eventually they'll go through their own metamorphosis and they'll sprout their own wings. But you were never tasked to remain on that same leaf with them until their wings grew. You are in the process of metamorphosis. It is a type of alchemical change that cannot be undone. And once you go through this change, an alignment will occur, bringing in massive abundance, and our inactivation, but it's in reverse. So this is telling me you need to temper your fiery nature. There's nothing that needs to necessarily be destroyed. There might be things that need to be corrected, but not destroyed. And if soul has determined the only appropriate way to correct what needs to be corrected is through destruction, that's not for you to be like, well, no, you said nothing needs to be destroyed. Yeah, nothing needs to intentionally be destroyed, meaning it is your intention to destroy it. And that's why you're correcting. No. Like I can think of a specific circumstance in my life, a very specific circumstance in my life where I don't necessarily have a desire to destroy, but I know in the correction that needs to take place because of how far this went, it's probably going to involve destruction. That was chosen by someone else, not me. It is not my job to go ahead and allow behaviors that are unacceptable and damn malignant, intentionally malignant, to allow it just to avoid the very outcome that people put so much of their time and energy and life force into. May they reap what they sow. I mean, they tended those fields. Allow them to harvest the poison they planted. I'm not having none of that. No, take it all. That's all yours. That's all yours. So at this point, you need to give yourself permission to accept that you are being absolved of whatever duty you think you have to protect the very people who have worked so hard to experience the suffering they're going to suffer through. Did you do that to them? No. Okay, then don't trip. But okay, did you start it? No. Okay, then don't trip. But okay, do you want them to suffer? Well, no. Okay, then what are you tripping about? I'm going to flick you in the forehead again. You need that? Do you need that? Do you need a paper cut? Put your hand out. Don't make me use my card to paper cut your hand. Do you need to get a paper cut? No. Just because someone else is about to receive the very hardship they work so diligently to ensure that they experience does not mean you need to get a paper cut so that you could be as miserable as they are. Leave them to do whatever in their process that needs to happen to correct themselves. I'm good off all of that at this point. Focus strictly on what your soul is asking you to focus on. And what is that? I don't know. But let's find out. Hashtag 1 and 2. Hashtag 1 and 2. So, whichever you are drawn to, I'm going to pull 2 cards. Hashtag 1 and hashtag 2. Here goes. Okay. This is for hashtag 1. Oh, before I start, I almost forgot. Tomorrow is the 6/6 portal. I'm going to be doing a fire ceremony here on YouTube. And then the expedites are going to be on TikTok. So I'm going to be here on YouTube at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then I'll do the fire ceremony here. It's also going to be seen on TikTok, but my focus will be on YouTube for the fire ceremony. And then for the expedites portion, I'm going to hop off of YouTube and I'm going to strictly be on TikTok for that. And I will clearly explain why. I want to reduce the opportunity for a specific individual who has gone out of their way to create a toxic environment on my YouTube channel. I want to minimize their opportunity to continue with that behavior due to some of the specifications on TikTok. That gives me more footing to pursue legal consequences for continued behaviors. And that's why I haven't really been on YouTube. It's not because I don't care about you guys anymore. It's because I need to approach this in the most responsible way possible. Okay. So tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're having the 6/6 portal fire ceremony. You can find the different expedites I have available through that link. And let's begin. So hashtag 1. Here we go. Hashtag 1. Sun, spirit. There's a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all time, this expression is unique. The sun is at the center of our lives, just as it is traditionally in the astrological chart. This is why the placement of the sun is the most significant. The sun is our spirit, our personality. It represents, along with Uranus, the animating flash of life. The sun signifies who we essentially are. It is also the need to express who we are. So, for those who were drawn to the first card, to number one, you need to find out what your sun sign is. You can look up free birth chart reading, free natal chart. I think that's what it's called. Free natal chart. Go Google that or something. And then put in your birth date and it will give you your sun sign. Now, you then need to go and look up what are the primary lessons of that sun sign. And this is what you're going to need to work through. Okay. The sun rules over the condition of our bodies. It is a return to light, the ability to transform and rise again. The sun represents our health, vitality, and dynamism. The sun is our strength and what we put our focus on. It is no surprise that it was the sun early people venerated, then developed into the idea of a life giving creator. Okay. The sun is the desire to bring on the outside what exists on the inside. So, for example, my sun sign is Pisces. I'm a Piscean. So I'm supposed to be doing all this Delulu stuff. It's okay for me to be Delulu for a little bit at times. Okay. I live in my own little Delulu world most of the day. And that's why I'm so unbothered. Um, but there's also a lot that's beneath the surface. Pisceans are a very deep, deep sign. We embody um, and can access traits from all the other zodiac signs that come before us. And that's why people are like, you're like, you have multiple personalities. Duh. Pisces sun. Hello. So you're needing to allow all these different aspects of yourself out. If you're a Pisces sun, that's what you need to do. You need to allow all these different aspects of yourself out. You need to allow yourself to tap into the depth of your spiritual nature. You need to allow yourself to celebrate how empathic you are. You have to stop being ashamed of being able to feel. Pisceans feel and they feel deeply in a space where feelings are not allowed. The capacity to feel at the depth that a Piscean feels, that is a gift. That is a superpower. And that is what allows you to be able to determine someone's unspoken intentions towards you. You got to let your superpowers out. When the sun card presents itself in a spread, it adds an encouraging spin to any reading. The sun is all that is good. It is the positivity that trumps anything negative. This card says, all eyes are on you. You have the strength and power to get things done. Let me say that again. All eyes are on you. You have the strength and power to get things done. For those of you who picked #1, it's time for you to recognize you have the strength and the power to get things done. Okay. All things that are truly meaningful are starting to happen now. You are now in a place to lead and inspire. It is through the sun's inspiration and creativity that will enable you to make things materialize. So you're entering into a space of manifestation, elevated manifestation. What are you going to do with it? You're going to gaslight yourself? You're going to have some imposter syndrome moment? What are you going to do with it? Because whatever you decide to do with it is valid. Even the self-sabotaging type of decisions, it's still valid. It's valid. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to allow yourself to get to a point where you begin to give yourself permission to do what needs to be done? Or are you going to, I don't know. Are you going to pretend like you don't deserve it, like you're not worthy of it, like Like maybe, I don't know, other people need it more than you, other people this, other people that. Like, what are you going to do with it? Because I mean, you've already done the whole other people thing. You've done that. You've been doing that. You've been doing that for quite some time, right? Has that made you happy? Because if it hasn't made you happy, well, I mean, why keep doing that? Wouldn't it be better to choose something that has a different potential outcome? Another meaning behind this card, oh, wait, it's through the sun's inspiration and creativity that will enable you to make things materialize. This may be at the front of a group or on a stage or just in the way that you lead with confidence. The sun card gives an emphatic yes to your reading. Another meaning behind this card is that the summer months are relevant. Summer may be when the wished for event occurs. Remember, the summer card came in reverse, and all of these cards were coming in reverse because these are the ways in which soul is going to correct, realign, and facilitate the coming to fruition of all of your dreams. Parties, events which emphasize creativity and fun, children and childlike adults all figure into the situation. This card also implies an aptitude for acting or just a period where dramatic ability and creative leadership could greatly benefit your mission. You may find yourself singled out, perhaps in a dramatic situation, where you show your skills in some impromptu ways, such as giving a speech or teaching a class. It's also a time of generosity and laughter. The spotlight shines on your life. What you are doing now is being noticed. If you're not used to this, you may retract or react with aloofness. Avoid foolishness, immaturity, and any lack of organization during this time, or the matter could fall apart at the seams. You're going to need to consciously choose at some point to push this all the way through. But all in all, this is a progressive, energetic card, which foretells of prodigious things on the horizon. This card indicates that matters will be going your way. But leadership on your part will be necessary. It's time to act and take your place in the sun. It's time. I know we hear that a lot. And I think this time is when you need to listen to it. So now we're going to do #2. Okay. #2. For those of you who chose #2, this is your card. Card number 16, Cancer. I feel. Your feelings are your God. The soul is your temple. Rely upon the wisdom of what you feel right now. Cancers have a depth of feeling not easily seen, as if in the deepest parts of the ocean, fathoms below the surface, but where there is great power. So the things that you're feeling right now, and the things you'll be feeling, they're guiding you towards something. There's a depth to it. Cancers are reclusive and they tend to hide their feelings and have alternating moods. They are emotionally vulnerable and are easily wounded. So maybe you're channeling, whether you're Cancerian or not, maybe you're channeling some of that Cancerian energy. They can be downright touchy, and when feelings are bruised, Cancers can come across as crabby and harsh. They feel for others deeply and are exceptionally sympathetic. But as they are highly empathic, the emotions of others can exhaust them. Hi, Colors. Colors Magica is the artist for my deck. You guys should check out her work. This is how her name is spelled. She's on Facebook, Colors Magica. Yes, go check her out. She has amazing, amazing work. I believe, do you still sell your paintings? All right, so let's see. Cancers are resilient, endure much, and can overcome just about anything, which seems peculiar because they are so sensitive. This is something that you need to kind of get a better hold on. Okay. If you're very sensitive, that's not a bad thing. But if your sensitivities cause you to go bonkers, to lose control, to lose sight of what's happening, that's not a good thing. And you can say all you want, but that's me. That's how I am. Okay. Well, are you happy with you? Are you happy with how your life is going? No? Okay. Then there needs to be some modification. I'm not saying I don't like you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying if you are not happy with how you are being received, there are some modifications that need to take place. And, for those who are going to be like, are you telling me I have to change myself for other people? No, I'm telling you, you have to change yourself for you because people who get defensive about being reminded that we all, all, um, need to go through a process of slight modification so that we can better express ourselves and be better received. Um, yeah, it's time to adjust because the world will not revolve around you. And I know for most of our community, you already know that. And you're not expecting the world to revolve around you. And if you're one of those people who already knows this and you chose #2, I think maybe the message is that you went too far on the other end of the spectrum. You were supposed to go to the middle point, not all the way on the opposite end, right? It's about balance. It's about allowing yourself to be who you are, but knowing that you will always only be the one who will be without any options in regards to harvesting what was sowed. I know when I be tossing attitude around, if it turns people off, if it causes them to turn away from me, I have to accept that. I'm going to be who I am. But at no point do I feel like, well, you have to accept that. This is who I am. Like, no, I could be salty. I could be real salty. And if you're not in the mood for some high sodium content, then, that's one of the consequences of me allowing you to witness me as I am. It's not a bad consequence. Why? Well, because it helps me to understand that now I'm finally in a space where I'm choosing myself. As someone who used to consistently choose others, I'm not choosing myself. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Cancer is the sign of the mother, and those ruled by Cancer tend to be overprotective of their offspring, which means they also like to control and take over. Got to be careful about that, okay? Even for you and your journey, your soul knows better than you. I know my soul knows better than me. The child is an extension of the mother who also needs to be protected, so she must remain strong to take care of her young. Cancer is a sign of imagination. They have a rich fantasy life, so they do well in the areas of creative writing, art, and also music. And with their gut reactions, Cancers can also be very accurate psychics. So this is about listening to your intuition, um, as long as your intuition is calibrated properly, meaning your intuition is not being used to, excuse me, meaning your intuition is not being used to negatively impact your growth. Some parasitic things do that, and they've been doing it quite a bit these days. Okay. Follow your intuition, but make sure you know that it's actually your intuition. When the Cancer card presents itself in a reading, you can be assured emotions are high. You may want to withdraw, or you may be dealing with someone who is withdrawn or depressed at this time. There's a feeling of being connected to the unseen world, and this includes the world of ghosts and spirits. This card can indicate inherited psychic abilities and even witch blood. There is a typhoon of power behind Cancer's strong feelings. Emotions are the fuel for ascension mechanics as well as other etheric um, processes. So that's why society tells us we're not allowed to feel. that feeling intensely, um, is a bad thing. That's why they categorize you as out of control, meaning you are out of their jurisdiction. They can't control you. So you're connecting to a lot of really intense things. You need to make sure you are very anchored at the center point. If you're simply anchored and you don't know where you're anchored, there's a possibility you'll become unbalanced and more easy to tip over, more easy to access. So you want to make sure wherever you anchor, it's the center point. Okay. It can also mean you're in sync with other people's emotions. You'll instinctively know what to do at the right time. There is sensitivity and emotional closeness indicated. If your question is about love, it may be a secret or involve bonded souls. This card can also mean that family or domestic issues need to be addressed. Mm. So those who chose #2, the reason, and this is an assumption on my end, the reason that your card has this overlay of what appears to be negative is because you're still allowing yourself to be very much influenced by the negative people in your life, people who you probably consider family, whether biological family or such a depth of love that you've labeled them as family. I think you already know who this is in your life. This is someone who you probably has suspected when you share good news, they're not really happy for you. That maybe they'll say the happy things, the appropriate responses, but there's something in them, something in the way they respond, in the face that they make, or I don't know what, but you could tell they're not happy for you. They're not happy for you. Be careful. Be careful because this is a window of opportunity that you probably will not have again. This is a window of opportunity that you probably will not have again. So, what are you going to do with this? Are you going to allow someone who doesn't want you to succeed, who wants you to remain dependent on them, either financially, emotionally, socially? I don't know. I don't know what's the root of the dependency. But this is someone who wants you to remain dependent on them, who needs you to run all of your ideas through them first. And then you kind of are left waiting to see what they think is best for you. And that's what you have to do. Like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. This is a very prosperous period we're going to enter into. But as you guys know, I won't mislead you. I won't say things that I know are not accurate or true. This prosperous period we're entering into, it carries with it extreme potentiality for just so much wealth. But that doesn't apply to everyone. And people are going to get upset. People who are, first winner, second winner type people, the type of people who think everyone needs a trophy. They're going to be like, that's so not inclusive. Yeah, soul doesn't care. Soul doesn't care. You don't do the work, you don't get the reward. And that's that. There's not going to be a second place trophy. There's not going to be a second place winner. There's just not. You're either going to go all the way or you're going to flounder and fail. If you're okay with failure, then no big deal. If you're not okay with failure, it's a very big deal. And you have to decide for yourself, which one are you? For me, I don't believe in failure. And it's not, I have to succeed. I have to succeed. I want to. I want to succeed in everything I do because why waste my time? Why commit to something if not I'm not going to put my all into it? And if I put my all into it, I'm going to succeed. Why? Because why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? I'm putting all this effort. I'm adjusting the approach if need be. I'm adjusting the goals if need be. Why wouldn't I succeed? So if you are someone who is okay with not achieving your dreams, it's no big deal. Keep doing as you are. It's going to be the same. You're comfortable with the same. So no big deal. I genuinely meet that. It's not going to be a big deal. But if you're someone who's been so unhappy in your circumstance and you're tired of the struggle, you're tired. Okay, you're going to need to commit to this. You will not get the reward if you don't put the effort. And you can't stop. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep doing whatever needs to be done. You have to. You have to. But why? Because you're worth it. You have to. You have to see it all the way through. Because the next version of you is waiting for you across that finish line. It's not to impress other people. It's so that you can have what you have earned. You've earned it. You deserve to know a stronger version of yourself. Why? Because this part of you is weak? No. Because this version of you will not be existing much longer. Why? Well, because you're about to live a different life. And the different life you're about to live requires a different version of you. Because to allow the same version of you to exist in the new part of your life is to allow the old caca that made you so unhappy, to allow that into the new part, which will make it a not new part. It will be the same thing. It will be the same thing. It's like moving into a brand new house, beautifully designed, custom home. And you're moving in there with your roommate, and whoever that roommate is, whether it's your partner, whether it's your sibling, whether it's your friend, whether it's just a roommate that you've had for so long, and you know that they keep a messy house. You know they never throw their trash away. They leave food in their room, and so the last place you lived, you had roaches, you had rats, and you're moving them into a brand new house with you. Might take a little bit because it's brand new. But eventually you'll have roaches and rats again in that new place. If you continue with the same patterns, all you're doing is moving the mess to a different spot rather than actually cleaning it up. For those who chose #2, the severity of the message. It needs to match the intensity of your willingness to leave that all behind. Once you leave it behind, you can't look back. Because to look back is to choose to go back to it. So a decision needs to be made right now. The severity of the message needs to be matched with the intensity of your desire to receive what is rightfully for you. And you will. The only thing that can stop you is you. So choose it. Choose it and then keep going. That's all. And if you're thinking, you mean I have to abandon everyone? No, you simply need to move forward. And those who are meant to be in your life will be in your life. But what if they don't choose to? Well, let me read to you what your card says. Cancer is a sign of the mother, and those ruled by Cancer tend to be overprotective of their offspring, which means they also like to take control and take over. That's a toxic trait. That's toxic. So, do you want to ask again? Um, what if they don't join you? Well, then you wish them well. You be happy for them and their decision. You can miss them. It's okay. You don't have to be like, I don't care. No, you can miss them. You can miss them while you continue to move forward in the direction that your soul is guiding you to go. Okay? These are not easy processes, but you are worth whatever it takes to transition into the next part of your life. You deserve it. You deserve to know a life that's worthy of you. It's not that life is so bad right now. It's just life right now is not all there is. So stop settling. All right, guys, I got to go. I got quite a few different things I still have to do. Hi, Oracle. Make sure whatever you decide for yourself right now, you're deciding it for you. And that's it. For you. Okay? Not for you and all of these other people or just a couple people. No, 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 no. Make a decision for you. What will heal you the most? What will make you feel whole? What will help you to understand how much you need to receive? You are not desperate. None of you are. Not people who chose #1 nor people who chose #2. The difference between the two groups is that one has finally let go and is now preparing to be launched forward, while the other is scrambling to hold on because of the fear of what happens when they let go. Life happens. That's it. Life. Life's been happening and it'll continue to happen and everything will be okay. But when you align yourself, you'll be more than okay. You will finally enter into a space of wholeness and hopefully happiness. And you deserve that. No matter what you chose, you deserve that. I'm going to see you guys again soon. I'll be live tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to do the fire ceremony. If you would like to get expedites, oh no, I almost deleted it. Here is the link. You click on the QR code or the link in the comment, and that'll take you exactly where you need to go. You can see what's available. And aside from that, I'm not sure if I'm going to go live on TikTok tonight just because I'm exhausted. Um, we'll see. I do have information, quite a bit. Conspiracy information about what's being sprayed. It came to me before I came live right now. I don't know. I'm tired though. Woo! We'll see. In any case, if you haven't already, and if you don't have the app, download it just for me. Hey, find me on TikTok. I'm evolving. I only follow 111 people, and that will not change. There are quite a few other TikTok fake accounts that are trying to troll people. That is not me. I only have one account on TikTok, and I follow 111 people. Okay? Only 111. Anything, yeah. And we don't message people either. So I'll see you guys.